Hello everyone, I am excited to work with you for this workshop, but I wanted to come on and give you a little video orientation just to show you a few things and talk about the supply list. So ahead of time, we've discussed some of this. So as you can see, here is my drawing and it is masked out. I'll be sending you that image, the masking image, so you can see it closer up. But I wanted to show you on this video, this is the masking fluid I'm using, which is Holbein's masking fluid. It has a little bit of a blue tint. I recommend on the supply list Incredible White Mask because it doesn't have color and it's easier for the artist to not have color in the masking. But as far as you working with me in a workshop, it's easier if you can see exactly where the masking is. So I use a ruling pen to apply my masking. I know that everyone has different ways that they apply. The most important thing is please take your time. It takes a little bit to do the masking on here. I think it took me over an hour, but take your time. The more detailed and precise you are with the masking, the better this painting will be, and the easier the crystal section will be. You're really doing a lot of the groundwork, creating those sparkles and creating the template basically for where we're going to paint. So make sure you take time and be precise. I'm just going to show you on here how thin. So I'm loading my ruling pen with masking fluid. I wipe the bottom off. And I'm going to come up here. I've already done most of the masking, but let's see. I might come over here and do a few of the little stamen in the middle of the flowers. So I'll do a few of those. We may do some more during the class. I'm not sure. The ones that are lightest is what I'll do. But do you see I'm getting very thin lines? When you're masking out in here, I just want you to notice the patterns. Really look at the big shapes and the little shapes. Of course, the circle in the middle, it's basically a series of circles and then cut crystal in between. So, and then you kind of notice another pattern where there's like these double triangles or kind of this arch, like flower petal shape almost, with the kind of triangles on the outside. So as you're going through, you know, really try to pay attention to that pattern. It gets lighter over here. You have more masking over in here, or more contrasted over in here, I guess. So as long as you stay within these big shapes, you can almost do squiggles around inside of these areas. The main area on the outside is important to get that line nice and straight and thin. So please be very cautious while you're doing this, precise. You will be so thankful you did. You can, of course, use a brush to put your masking on. You can use, of course, if you're using a brush, do not use a good brush. Use a brush you don't care about, and you have to put soap on it so the masking fluid will come off. I've never cared for that method, but everybody has their own way of doing things. If you're not used to using masking fluid very often and you don't have a ruling pen, you can use just like, I used a straight pen, like the end of a straight pen, not the pointy end, but the other at the head of the straight pen, for a lot of years. So that works as well. I had one out a second ago, I was going to show you. That works as well. So I would just load up my masking on the back end of that pen and just drop in my masking with the head of the pen. The ruling pen is just easier to load, and I've gotten used to that method. All right, let's talk about supplies. So I'm gonna go over the colors. First off, if you haven't painted with me before, I make my own pans. So you're gonna see these as we're painting. All my colors are dry. I don't reconstitute like with spraying water or anything. I do not do that before I start painting. I just get some water out of my bucket, come over here and just kind of roll around my paintbrush. This is the paintbrush. I'll be using a size 4 synthetic for a majority of the painting. Let me see. I had a 1-inch flat brush. Might need that for the marble background to help with that. A scrubber brush and a size 4. This is my scrubber brush. It is a size 4 old synthetic brush. That's all, the tip is all, you know, messed up. There's no point anymore. But I use it all the time to scrub out. It might come in really handy in the shadow areas where we have to scrub some different colors out. All right, so I'm gonna go down the supply list and I'm just going to swatch out some of these colors so you can see them. And then that way you can choose, if you don't have that exact color, you can see if you have something similar. I will say the Holbein Brilliant Pink, which is this kind of bubblegum pink right there. I've put these little tags just so I know which ones are in the workshop, because I'm doing 2 workshops right now and I'm trying to keep them separate. So here is the Holbein Brilliant Pink. It's really kind of a bubblegum color. I said if you didn't have it that you could use Rose Madder and possibly add a little Chinese white to it. I'm going to show you Rose Madder. I don't even know if I own Chinese white, so I'll be using the Brilliant Pink. Here's some Rose Madder, but see how nice, if you do it lightly with water, I'll add a little, if you do it lightly with water, you can pull out and get a nice pink as well. And this one happens to be, let me make sure what brand. This is Schminka's Rose Madder. I do not know if they are all the same. I don't know if I have other brands. I probably have Daniel Smith somewhere. That's the majority of the colors I use. With this, we have a few other colors. Okay, now we're gonna go to our bright yellow. I'm just going down the list. This is our Bismuth Vanadate Yellow. This is bright lemony yellow. Lemon yellow would work as well. It's a bright, pretty color. We're gonna use this kind of minimally, so any bright sunny yellow you have would be fine. Opera Pink. Mostly for like details in our flowers. It's that Opera Pink, it's got that nice fluorescent in it. Okay, then we're gonna go to Sap Green. These all from here down are all Daniel Smith. There's Sap Green. Okay, Cobalt Teal Blue. Love this color. This is Daniel Smith as well. Cobalt Teal Blue. I think this is in majority of my paintings. We're going to use this a lot in the crystal. Cobalt Blue. Ultramarine would work as well. I've just been sticking with Cobalt Blue lately because it's a little less granulating than ultramarine. And it's kind of a bright, pretty blue. Okay. Payne's Blue Gray or Payne's Gray. Sepia. Okay, I should also, while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk about some terminology that I'll use. So, while I told you that I work with dry pans, and I just put a little water in there when I'm going to the paper. So, some of you may use wet paint out of the tube. For me, that's harder to gauge just because I've gotten used to the pans. But I'm going to talk about a few phrases that terminology definitions that I'll be using in the video. So this is my burnt umber. That's the next color. If I tell you in the video that we're going to get burnt umber, skim milk, value 1, let's say. So I'm going to add more water. I'm doing this up in the lid part. So skim milk means really runny, you know, like if you were pouring skim milk out of a carton. It's really runny, a lot of water, a little bit, a tiny bit of pigment. If I want value 1, I want it really light on the value scale. So I'm going to go reverse here. So here's kind of value 1 at the end here, and then if you add more to it, you know, you kind of have a sliding scale of values. We'll get, if I wanted to get value 10, and I would say a cream consistency, so I don't have as much water, so cream, like coffee, like a whole cream, you know, and dairy products. So here's my value 10 cream consistency. And then in the middle, you have, you know, varying shades. So sometimes I'll say like a 5-6 if I'm in the middle, or I might say, you know, like 2, 3 kind of in here. So those are words that you'll hear me use during the workshop. Okay, so that was burnt umber. Now we're gonna go to phthalo green yellow shade. You can use Viridian if you don't have this color. This is also Daniel Smith. Look how bright and pretty that is. Need that for the crystal. Alright, pulling a little water. Okay. Daniel Smith Wisteria. And I'll show you, Holbein has a lilac that's very similar. So here's Daniel Smith's Wisteria. Now the Wisteria, the pink, the brilliant pink, and the bismuth vanadate all have some white paint in them, so they're semi-opaque. But you can use them in a transparent fashion. See if I come down here, value 1, skim milk. That is a transparent fashion. Out here is more of an opaque, creamy version. Okay, and then I'm going to show you Holbein's Lilac. So this is an either or, Daniel Smith Wisteria or Holbein Lilac. Holbein in general, their paints have more white in them than some of the other, you know, like Daniel Smith or Schminke paints. They have a little more white here and there. These colors are super similar though, see that? Okay, so either one of those. And then I have Holbein Horizon Blue. I have not found a good substitute for the Horizon Blue. It's this kind of icy blue. It's a Holbein. All right. So there are all the colors swatched out for you for the workshop. So that's that. We talked about brushes. We talked about ruling pen, applying the masking. You can see I have white tape that's attached to this corrugated plastic board. I'm using 156 pound cold pressed arches, which is in between 140 and 300. They used to call it 260 pound. I feel like that's more accurate of a description. I don't know. I honestly, it should be like 200 or something. It feels like it's in between. So that's that. Let's see. I think that's pretty much all. This is, we're painting it approximately 12 by 13. It's almost square, just slightly off. You should have the picture. You should have the photo reference, the drawing, the masking map I'm sending out right now, and the supply list. And so you need to come to the workshop with your drawing finished and your masking done, because we are going to paint. I will paint, you will follow, and so you need to have it all ready to go. And then at the end of the day, you will get a copy of the recording. So if you do get behind, or you want to you know, work later and you miss something, or some of my students have painted a second time, although I'll tell you most students have a pretty great first round once they've painted with following along. So that is pretty much it for orientation. I will see you Monday. So have a great time. You have any questions, you can email me, Carrie Waller, C-A-R-R-I-E, Waller, W-A-L-L-E-R. Did I say 3 L's? Waller at Gmail, CarrieWallerArt@gmail.com. All right, see you Monday.